Hi guys, welcome back to another video on Next.js. In this particular video, I'm going to be building a complete authentication and authorization application. So you can see that on my screen, I have this sign up page. We have the navbar where we can see a home page. We cannot navigate to that because we are not logged in. And there is a private page. The reason I've created these two routes because this is a client component. This is going to be a server component. I'm going to show you multiple ways to fetch users data on these two pages, on both client and the server side pages, since we are using Next.js. Okay, and we can click on login button from the top. If user is logged in, we will not be showing login button. Instead, we will be showing logout button as well as the logged in user email ID in the navbar. So we have this form for the email and the password. We can log in from here. We can log in with the GitHub, and then we can sign up. First of all, if we are not signed up, obviously we cannot log in. I've added all the validation and error handling in this particular project. And if I go to the sign in back, we can actually click on the reset password. We can enter our email and we will get an email ID to reset our password on whatever the email we will provide over here. And clicking on the link which we will get in the email ID, we will be navigated to another route which will be called reset password, where will have to enter our new password. Okay, so this is all functional. So let's go back to the login page. So I will be using Supabase, which is an awesome cloud service, and it provides a lot of different features. So if I go to the Supabase, you can see that it includes these different modules. We can set up the complete Postgres SQL database with different tables. We can run over SQL queries in SQL editor. So whenever we sign up using Supabase authentication system, user gets added in this particular module, authentication module, within this users table. Okay, so we can see that it includes the UUID, email, phone providers. So I'm using only one email provider. When we will be having multiple providers like GitHub, maybe Twitter, Facebook, Google, all the providers will be showing over here in this column. And I also want to show you that if you want to create a big application, you want to have the relationship of this user with all other database tables as well, like blogs, invoices, teachers, students. So all these different tables should be created in our table editor or in the database schema. We can actually add different tables. Currently I've added only one table called user profiles. You can add your own name for this, and it has this email and username which I have added, and this ID which is of type UUID. And whenever user will try to sign up over here, we will get a verification email ID. And when you will be verifying your email, and after verifying we will have to log in. Okay, so once the whole process completes, we want the user which is created over here should be added automatically over here in this table for the user's profile, and this is already happening. This is the ID which is same as the ID of this particular user, so that we can match this when we are querying the data. And I will also be showing you how to add the RLS policies, so that if we have this particular table or any table, whether all the CRUD operation or private or public, which user actually have access to actually insert new data in this particular profile or not. So all the RLS keys, if I go to the database, actually I need to go to the authentication, and I can go to the policies, and we will see that these different policies are applied to the user's profile table. I have added the policy that enable insert for authentication users only. So only the authenticated users should be able to add or insert inside the user's profile, and the user can be actually fetched for all the roles. Okay, this is what, so you can set that up. All right, so now I'm going to be giving you one repository which is already set up with the default UI. Okay, currently this project which you are looking at is fully functional. but this is the project which I'm going to be giving you the link of it in the description of this video. It is not functional, but the UI is already there. I don't want to spend a lot of time building the UI, writing CSS, creating empty components. For example, this is already set up. I've added the navbar already over here in the layout.tsx file. If you don't know how to create routes in Next.js, how to build the Next.js project from scratch, then I have already created dozens of videos. Okay, and my channel is basically known as for creating Next.js tutorials. So if I show you my channel, you will see that this is the first video. You might want to look at it if you don't know anything about Next.js, but you know React and want to learn Next.js. Check out this video in which I have explained you everything about routings and layout, how to set up all these different components and routing page.tsx files. And I would suggest you guys to go to the playlists. And if I go to the Next.js tutorials, or let's go to the Next.js 14 tutorials, this playlist actually contain almost 50 videos, and it includes Next.js 15 tutorials as well. There is not much difference in both the variants. Okay, so I've already created bunch of videos, almost 50, pretty much covering every topic for you to become a good Next.js developer. Starting off with the basics: SEO, authentication, building full stack application, building blog applications, building live stream application, video calling, chat applications with the help of different tools, Gemini, OpenAI. And you can see that building forms, debugging techniques, improving the performance of your web app, and all these different videos I have created for you guys. And it will really encourage me to make more videos for you guys if you can just like this video and subscribe my channel, and so that I keep on creating more videos if I get more and more support from you guys. One last thing, that I've already created a lot of videos on authentication in Next.js using multiple other tools as well. For example, NextAuth, auth.js, Clerk, Kind, Auth0, AppWrite authentication. So you can learn authorization authentication using multiple other famous cloud services as well from my channel only. So do subscribe my channel and like my tutorials, guys. Okay, so now this is the project. I'm need to run this project, npm run dev. So this is already set up. You need to go to the GitHub link from the description of this video, clone this repository. You will have this already set up. It is not functional with the Supabase right now, but it contains the UI components which we will be requiring to show these sign up pages, forms, this login button. This is all the layout navbar. Okay, so first of all, this is the home page, and let's go to the login page. You can see that this is this route auth, and we have this is going to contain the login, and you can see that it contains nothing functional. It contains this title, then it contains login form, login GitHub button, just like this. And then we have this sign up link at the bottom, then reset password over here. And I've created this child components for everything: login form, login GitHub at here. Like uh, you can see login form, login GitHub, sign up form, reset password. Okay, and this is the nav bar. It's showing home, private route, and navigate to the login page. You can see at the top, which I'm loading in the layout.tsx file. And also one thing more, if I go to the login form, I have created one auth button separately, and this auth button is showing below every form, whether it's login, sign up, reset password, forget password. The reason I've created it a separate component, because I wanted to manage this loader, the disable loading at one place. And from parent component, I'm passing the type to it. For example, auth button type, this is the type login, and whatever I'm passing from here, it is going to be shown on this button. Plus I'm passing the loading, which is going to be shown over here when we will click on it. Okay, so it contains nothing. We will need to handle all the login sign up in this particular function. All right, you can take some time if you want to understand this structure yourself. And it contains private route, nothing, just hello. I will be adding the user email for logged in user. This is going to be a server component. And then the error page, if something wrong goes wrong, we can just navigate to this error page. auth callback route which will be required by the Supabase authentication. It contains nothing. These are simply empty files. I will be writing some code in these files, and then um, I have this layout, this thing. So I will be using this layout to actually uh, navigate users from these particular routes. If user is already logged in, then we should not be able to navigate to these auth routes. Okay, then I will be writing all the server actions in this particular file. It is empty, it contains nothing. Okay, so let's get started. I hope that you have already cloned the project, and first of all we need to set up the Supabase. Okay, so first of all I'm gonna go and create one new file inside it, .env.local. Okay, so in this particular file we need to have few things. So first of all I will be needing next public Supabase URL, which we need to create on a new project. I'm going to show you by creating a new Supabase project. And next, public Supabase anon key. Okay, anonymous key means. All right, so these two things are required only. I will keep it opened. So let's go to the Supabase, and I'm going to go to the home of my Supabase. In fact, let's go over here, all projects, and I'm going to create a new project from here. Click and click, choose the organization. So let's call it next 15 auth. Okay, and let's generate the password. Let's copy it and let's paste it somewhere over here. We might need that later on. And South Asia, Singapore, make sure you select the region which is nearest to your country. Okay, for me, so Singapore is nearest, and let's click on create a new project. Meanwhile it is getting created, I just want to request you guys to do subscribe my channel and like my video. And also one important thing, that if you want any kind of development services from me, you can contact me on LinkedIn. I have given the link of my LinkedIn profile in the description of this particular video, as well as on my channel. And so you can see that it contains this anon public. So let's copy that and let's paste it over here. All right, and then we will be needing this URL. So let's copy this URL. All right, we don't need the JWT secret or the secret key of the Supabase, because when we will be needing some admin APIs access, then we will need that. But for this particular tutorial we don't need to create that secret key or the JWT token. Okay, so right now you can see that we have already added this, and this is the URL which you need to navigate to. Setting up server-side auth, I will be copy pasting some of the code from here, but I will be modifying that according to my needs. Okay, it does not contain everything which I have just shown you. Okay, so first of all I need to install npm install Supabase, Supabase.js, Supabase SSR. So inside the terminal, let's paste that. So it is getting installed and it will be visible over here, package.json file. Okay, so you can see that these are installed. Perfect. Okay, let's comment this part and let's close this env.local. I think I need to zoom in a bit so that you guys can see it better. I think it's looking fine now. Okay, so now let's go to the docs, and I will share the link of it in the description of this video as well. Make sure you select this app router, because we are using app router in Next.js 15. We have already installed that, and we have already added these keys in the env.local file. Okay, and it is showing the correct this URL and the anon key that we have already added. Let's go down, and here it is asking us to create these files. First of all we need to create utils/supabase folder. Okay, so let's go over here, let's create utils/supabase. We can change the path of these files as well, but this is just the convention that Supabase is asking us to create. Okay, now inside it we need to create client.ts and server.ts file. Let's copy that, client.ts, and the server.ts file. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's copy this code inside the client.ts. Copy. Let's paste it. Um and I don't think we need to modify over here because we are creating it on the client side. So whenever we want to fetch the information on the client component on the client side, then we will be creating a new Supabase instance using this function. Okay, but when we need to create a Supabase object on the server side, on the server actions, or on the API side, or on the server components, then we will be I have pasted it at the wrong place. I need to put it in the client side, and in the server side I need to put this thing. Okay, so let's copy that. Let's paste it over here. Okay, so we have done that. We are on the server side because server side cannot access the browser cookies. So this is how the Supabase is maintaining all these cookies. It is creating a server side client and maintaining the cookies by creating these functions using a cookies store from which is from the next headers. Okay, so we don't need to add anything or modify it. So let's save it. What we have next, so let's go down. We have this middleware.ts file at the root of the project, and then we need to create a middleware.ts file. So let's create one at the root, middleware.ts, which is at the root. So let's copy that. Let's paste it. And currently it's fetching that middleware file from that path. So let's create that middleware.ts inside the Supabase folder. Okay, so here we don't need to modify anything. It's already, so we will be modifying something over here. So let's go and let's copy that. Let's paste it over here. Now this error should be gone. Let's save it. It takes some time because otherwise we need to reload the window. So let's reload the window. Now the error should be gone because it will now find this middleware file, and you can see that there is no error. All right, so let's close this one. Let's see what we have here in this particular file. At the start we have this create client server. That is fine, and it is managing the cookies. Let's remove these since we are not using options. Okay, let's scroll down. And here in this particular file, it is actually maintaining the which route are protected and which routes are not. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy this, paste it 3 more times, and I'm going to change it to register. Then I'm going to change it to forgot password, and then I'm going to change it to the reset password. We don't need that, but let's keep it. Maybe you want to have your own path of routes which are starting off with /auth/login/auth/register. Okay, this is something we want to add. Start with is not required, so we want to change it to includes, because we know that these routes are directly existing at place localhost :3000/login, which we have already created over here. Whenever we add a parentheses around a folder, it doesn't become a part of the URL. So this is only to organize a particular folders of the routes. Okay, so now what is it doing actually? So if any route we are trying to navigate to, for example the home route, this one, or private route, okay, then we are automatically navigating it to the login route. Means that we are authorizing these routes if user is not logged in, and if user is not on any of these routes, then we should take it to the login route. Means we will not be letting user to navigate to the home route or the private route if user is not logged in. This is what everything is happening over here, and you can go through it. What is it doing? You can actually understand it easily by reading these things. Okay, Other than this, I don't think we need to modify it. So let's close it. Let's close these. Let's close package.json file. So what we have next actually, we have already added this error page currently. Yeah, let's close that. And we need to have these actions. I'm not going to copy pasting anything from here. Uh, okay. It includes the sign up and it includes the login server actions, and then we have the login page. This is the UI of the form. We have already having this particular UI already built. This is quite good looking as compared to which is given to us by this form, this Supabase docs. Okay, so let's go down what we have here, and then we have this thing to be added in route.ts file in auth/confirm auth/confirm.route.ts file. So what is it doing? Whenever we are going to sign up and we will get a confirmation email. Okay, we need to verify our email. When we click on that link, this is going to get triggered. So let's copy that, and we will be needing that obviously. So let's copy over here. So you can go through it. What it is doing is actually verifying the OTP which is being passed from the email when we click on the verify email link, and we can obviously modify the UI of the email, the template from the Supabase dashboard, which I can just show you here. I don't think we need to modify anything. It's just creating a new client, and it is a server side client component, and using the Supabase we are just verifying the OTP. If it is verified without any error, we are just redirecting it to the next whatever the route. It in this case it will be login route. Okay, and otherwise we are navigating it to the error page. We have already configured the error page from here. So let's save it and let's close this particular file. Okay, and next we have this private page. Okay, we have already configured that, so it is just showing that if we want to fetch the logged in user information, then this is how we can do that. We have to create our client, the Supabase instance, from the server side, since this is a server side component. And then if there is an error or user does not exist, we are just navigating it to the login page. Otherwise we are showing the details of the user, data.user.email. Okay, so for this particular page, all the things we have already followed that. There are a lot of different options. You can go through it on the left side. So Svelte guide and creating a client. Then we have the different kinds of sign up ways, like the social login, which I'm going to be following. I've already opened that social login with GitHub. Okay, you can see there are a lot of different social logins provided by it. We can configure anonymous sign in, multi-factor authentication, sign out. So now let's come back and let's run the project. If everything is working fine after we have added all these different files, middleware, all these utils files, and these kinds of confirm route.ts file, but let's verify everything is going well. Although we have not integrated it on these forms, and our page is looking good and there is no error, and we can navigate to the other pages as well. Sign up, reset password, go to the home, private. Home and private are now, we are not able to navigate to that. Guess what is stopping it? So we have actually added this middleware.ts file, and we added these conditions. Okay, this thing. All right, and only these routes are public when user is not logged in. If user is not logged in, every other route other than these routes are going to be protected. Okay, if we were having other routes like the /blog, /profile, /abcd, those routes we will not be able to navigate to that as well. Okay, because of this condition. Here, I think I added includes over here as well, but it should be starts with, although the /auth route does not exist in our project. In case you are using /auth, /login, /auth, /register, then there should be starts with. It was my mistake. I updated above 4 and I shouldn't have updated this. Okay. So let's close that. Now it's time to go to the sign up and let's start implementing the sign up. So I'm going to open up the components and I need to open up the sign up form. Okay. Here the UI is already there. Auth button is already there. Loading part is already there. We are managing the error handling here. Okay. So let's uncomment these because we will be needing that. Okay, so inside this handle submit, we are receiving this event. If we are just preventing the default, and with the help of this event we can fetch the values which user enter in this form. It can be the username, email, and then the password. Okay, so how we can do that? So below this particular set error, I need to write const form data equals to new form data event dot current target. Okay, and then I'm going to call one server action which I have not yet added. So await, we can add sign up, which I'm going to name sign up server action, and then I'm going to pass the form data inside it. Although the sign up it is giving me an error that sign up does not exist. That is fine. And after that I'm going to return result dot status. If it is equals to success, then I'm going to navigate to the home route. Okay, and if I'm going to if there is any error, so I'm going to simply set the error result dot status. Status can include error as well, so I can just put the status, but as I'll modify the server action, I will come back to this if anything I need to modify. Okay, so now this is the sign up. Let's open up this actions auth.ts. Okay, so at the top in every server action we need to write use server so that it runs on the server side. First of all, we will be needing few things to import. We need these four things. Pause the video and you can copy these, write it down. Revalidate path, next cache, redirect for redirecting to other routes, create client, which we have already added, and then the headers. Okay, now let's create a function. So export async function sign up. Okay, I'm not going to accept everything which is it is providing. So here I am going to add form data of type form data. Okay, I'm using the Super extension of VS Code. It is suggesting me the code, but I want to write each and every line myself step by step. Okay, now let's import that sign up function. Now the error should be gone. It is giving error because I'm not returning any status from within this. Okay, that is fine. Now let's go over here, and inside it I'm going to write const Supabase create client. All right, and then let's create credentials, and this is going to be an object. So I need to take username, and this is going to be form data dot as string. So let's give it a type, and then we need to have an email, then we need to have a password. Make sure whatever you add over here, it is matching with the name property over here, name, name, email, and then the name, password. Okay, so let's come back over here. So we have added these credentials now. Okay, so below this I'm going to sign up user. Okay, so first of all we will get error and then the data, and then we have this await Supabase auth sign up, and inside it we need to have an object. So let's add the credentials.email, credentials.password, and username is not by default the property of the Supabase authentication module. So Supabase have one property called the user metadata, and while signing up, if we want to put extra information inside the user, then this is how we do it. We add an option inside the data username, and other than username we can add anything else. Phone number is like social profile, LinkedIn URLs, anything we can put inside it. Okay, So this is going to get triggered, and now we are going to check if there is an error. Then we are going to return status error. So rather than actually status, we can fetch it from error.status, error.message, I would say. Okay, and after that we are simply going to return user null. Okay, and if user does, if there is no error, then we can simply so we are just returning, we don't need else if. But in case if you want to check if the email ID with this user already exists, then we can check it with data.user.identities.length, and I can check equals to 0. If it is equals to 0, it means that the user with this email ID already exists. Okay, so I can add status, and then user is going to be null. So inside the status, what we can put user with this email already exists, please log in, or any information you want to put inside it. All right, and what are the errors? So these are the unused errors, we can ignore that for now. We will be using all these things in other functions. So after that, we are going to revalidate path, and this is going to take it to this, and all the routes should be revalidated, okay, which are within the layout. Okay, and if, and then we are going to return the status, obviously. So return status success, and then the data.user. Okay, so now the error should be gone over here. Yes, you can see that the error is gone. And all right, so now it's time to test this out, and the email verification code will be automatically sent to our email. But let's go over here, let's refresh. Currently, if I go over here, go to the authentication tab, you will see that it will be empty right now. And let's write an email ID, let's update the username, and let me update the password abcd at 1234. Let's sign up. Okay, it's loading because of the loader which I've already configured. All right, so seems like it is successfully configured. And after sign up, I'm actually taking it to this home route, but the home route is taking it to the login page because we are not logged in. And the middleware is taking the home route to the login page. In fact, we should have returned the login over here. Okay. So now, no thanks. You can see that I put this particular password, A capital B C D at 1234. No thanks. Okay. Now we need to wait for a few seconds or minutes. The email verification is going to be sent. But before that, let's go over here and let's refresh. So now you can see that we are successfully signed up. It is added over here inside authentication module with this ID. This is the email ID, and the provider which we have used is this email. Okay. And last sign in at waiting for verification. You can see that I have not verified it. And if I'm not verified, I will not be able to log in, although I have not returned the sign in server action. So it will not work. Okay. I need to write that server action for now. So let me see if I've got the verification on my email. So after a couple of minutes, I've got a verification email. This is how it looks like. I'm showing you in a screenshot, and we can modify its template actually. So let's go over here. And here you can see that it has the policies, providers. We can go to the providers. You can see that email provider is already enabled. Rest of these providers are disabled, and we will be enabling the GitHub provider over here. So if I open up the email, we can just disable these options as per our requirements. We can configure the rate limits. We can go to the email template. So these are all the email templates confirm sign up, invite user, magic link, change email address, reset password, re-authentication. And this is the information that we can use while sending the email. And this is where we can write our HTML. Okay. And this is the preview. While we are updating, we can keep on previewing it. We can write internal CSS to modify it over here. Okay. Right now, I'm not going to do that. This is not the tutorial for styling. Okay. So now I can actually verify the email ID. So let's do that. I'm going to verify that. So after verifying, let me bring that in. This is how it's going to take me to /login ?code, and this is the code. All right. So before actually implementing the sign in, let's go over here. Let's go to the users. And it's currently refreshing. One thing I want to see over here, whether we have this enabled. So last signed in is this one. Earlier it was showing, that email is not verified, but right now it is not showing that. It means we have verified our email ID. Now it's time to implement the sign in. So inside the auth, let's close this particular component and open up the login form. And inside the login form, I need to implement this thing. So just like this sign up form, I'm going to copy everything from here and let's put it over here. Okay. So just like the sign up, I'm going to change it to the sign in. And inside the sign in, we can actually pass the form data, and it will be email and password. We need router. So let's enable that, which we are already importing above. And that's, I think, so rather than actually routing dot push, we need to navigate it to the home route and results dot status, results dot success, login. Okay. So let's copy this name and let's go over here. Let's close it. And I'm going to write export async sign in and form data. Okay. Before actually writing anything inside it, let's import this sign in function from auth. So the error is gone and it will be resolved once I will be returning the statuses from this server action. Okay. So for this sign in, I'm going to, again, let's bring that in, copy, and let's go down and remove the username. Okay. And after that, we actually need to write const error data and supabase.auth.sign in with password. Okay, because we are using password. And after that, we can simply pass the credentials that we have built above. Okay. And if there is any error, then I'm going to simply return error message and the user null. Okay. After this, I'm going to write a comment to do create a user instance in user profiles table. Okay. In Supabase, we can do it in other way as well. There is something called functions, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to follow this technique to create a user instance in the user profile table. Okay. This table is yet to be created yet. I'm going to create after that. So, but I need to check the sign in functionality for now. Okay. So once if no error, that means we are successfully signed in. All right. And after that, just like the sign up, we are going to add this revalidate path and success data dot user. So let's save it. Let's go over here. So there is no error right now. Okay. So let's see. Let's go over here. Let's refresh. And now let me rewrite the password because it's not taking from the history. Let's log in. Okay. Currently it is navigated to the home route. It means we are successfully logged in, although I need to update the navbar. So it means that we are logged in. That's why we are able to navigate to the home route. If I navigate to the private, I should be able to navigate to that. So these are no more protected because I'm logged in. And if I go over here, it's currently refreshing. Let's refresh. Should be showing over here the time which I'm expecting. Okay, it's taking some time. Yes, you can see that at this time I'm able to sign in to that. So we are successfully signed in. And let's go over here. So meanwhile, we are already signed in. Let's modify the navbar first of all. So I'm gonna open up the navbar so that we can show the email ID of the logged in user. So inside the navbar, so what we can do is, this is a server component again, because we are not using any use client written at the top. So we can write const Supabase create client. Create client should be imported from the Supabase server. And then I'm going to check if the data const data, let's destructure the user from within and then await Supabase get user. Okay. So now what I can do is I can check if user exists. That means we are logged in. Otherwise we are not logged in. Okay. So this is the link which I need to put. So I'm just simply going to replace it with a code snippet like it. Okay. Let's, so we need to bring in the logout component. Yes, so let's bring that in. So we have already bring that in. Let's save it. So if no user exists, then we are going to show the login. And if the user exists, that means that we are going to show the user email ID. You can see that it is already showing the email ID. And then we are going to show this logout. So inside the logout, you can see here that it's showing the loading and it is signing out and the sign out. So we are logged in, that's why it's showing the sign out. If we click on that, it will click on the signing out, and we need to write few things over here. We need to trigger a new server action that will process the sign out. Okay, so what should we do next? I think let's close the navbar. We are done with that. Let's write the logout function server action over here. Let's close these down. And now in order to implement the logout, it is pretty simple. Let's put that export sign out, and inside the sign out, we are simply going to create an instance of that Supabase, and using this we can simply write this error if there is an error, and then supabase.auth.signout. No matter if we are logged in with GitHub, with Google, or with simple email ID, it will work for all these. Okay, and let's do if error. Then I'm going to redirect it to the error page which we have already created. So error. Okay, otherwise let's revalidate path. So revalidate path layout, and then let's redirect it to the home page. So after sign out, where we want to navigate to, so we can navigate to the login page. Okay, and now we are done with that. Let's use it in our logout. So here we have got this event for just preventing it. And here we can actually just re-trigger that. So await sign out from actions auth. That's it. So let's save it. Let's close it. And over here, let me sign out from here. Let's refresh it to see if we are already logged in, and let's click on sign out, signing out. And yeah, we are signed out, and it has taken us to the login page. And if we click on home private, we are not able to navigate to that because we are logged out. So moving forward, I want to set up the database over here and create a new table called profiles, user profile, or whatever you want to call. And whenever I'm signing up from here, And after verifying the email, when I'm first time logging in, I want to create an instance of this user in my database. Okay, so let's go inside the database. If I go to the table, currently we don't have any table, so let's click over here, and I'm going to add user profiles. Keep it enabled. This is important for security. And initially we have this ID. Let's select the type of it, UUID. Let's keep it primary. And rather than random, I'm going to select it return users ID when rows are added. Okay. So now I've created add timestamp now, which is fine. Add another column, and I'm going to change it to email, and let's add the varchar, and let's keep it null. Let's add username. Okay, we don't want to add a password here. Password is automatically going to be managed by authentication module of Supabase. And again, varchar null. Okay, and now if I click on settings, we want to make it, so let's keep it unique. Okay, not is nullable. And also for this, let's keep the username unique as well and remove this as nullable. And below this, we don't want to add any foreign key, and let's save it. So now it is creating a new user table. Okay, it's taking some time. All right, so table have been created. Now what I want to do is I want to add the policies. Policies means that who can actually perform CRUD operation to this table. I want insert operation to be done by logged in user only. Okay, so this is something which I'm going to add, and fetch can be done by the public routes. Maybe whatever you want to do depends upon your requirement. So policies, click on policies, and here we don't have any policies. It's called RLS policy. Okay, let's click on create policy, and at the top, enable insert for auth users only. Okay, and then public.users profile, I can actually click on the insert. Okay, and then enable read access, enable insert for authenticated users only. So we can click on that, so it is going to select authenticated over here. All right, so with check true. So let's save this one, save policy. All right, and we can actually set the policy for the fetch as well. So we can actually click on create policy and we can actually click on the select permissive, and we can actually enable read access for all. Okay, and then enable read access for all users, like click on that and using true. So I think we don't need to do anything. Let's keep it default to all public roles if non-selected. But we can select the anon. So whoever is, if we have the anonymous key added in the project, but still user is not authenticated, we can click on that. But let's leave it like this. Let's click on the save policy. Okay, so we have added two policies for this user profiles table. So if we want to fetch the data from this table using the Supabase client, then we can do that. So we have added the policies and we have added this table. What I'm going to do is I don't want to create an instance of the user in the user's profile table during sign up. I want to do it after user logged in first time. Okay. There are other ways in Supabase that people actually do to actually create a profile user instance against the user sign up. Like if I go to the edge functions, not edge. So let's go to the database, and here we have this functions. And inside these functions, we can actually create a new function, and we can write our query over here to actually generate an instance against that authentication module. But I want to do it in this way directly from code because I find it to be in my control. when I'm doing it over here. And also, as I have told you that I want to create an instance of user in users profile table after user is logged in, first time logged in. Okay, so you can follow this. This is amazing. You can just follow the docs to actually create an instance using these functions. But for this video, I'm not going to do that. Let me know in the comment below if you want me to show how the functions work in Supabase. I will do that. Okay. Now here in the auth we have this sign in. Okay, and here below this error, this is where I added this comment. Okay, and here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check if existing user already exists. So first of all, I can actually write const data existing user. Let's rename it and await Supabase dot from, and let's name the table user profiles. Let me verify what was the name of the table. User profiles. Yes, so this is it. And after that, after from, I can actually check select all, and then I'm going to check if email is equals to the credentials.email which I have passed, and then I'm going to limit it to 1. Then I'm going to make it single. Okay, so after this I'm going to check if existing user does not exist. Okay, it means that we are first time logging in. So if existing user does not exist, then I'm going to write this thing. Okay, so Supabase from user profiles insert, and then I'm going to be putting in the email username. So not with these credentials, but I can fetch it using this data as well. Okay, because this is how I have actually not this particular data because we have renamed it to the existing users, but data is going to be used of this. So data. Okay, sign in. After sign in, we can still fetch the user email and the username from this data. Okay, so over here we can write data dot user dot email, and the username, you remember that when we signed up we actually stored the username in user metadata over here, and we need to fetch it from the user metadata. So let's go down and let's write data dot user slash user metadata and then the username. Okay, all right, and inside it, once the user is inserted, we can check. So we don't need to check this data. Maybe if you want to return it to some your component, then you can do that. But let's add insert error. So if there is insert error, then I'm going to simply return the user null and then the message. Okay, so I have saved this server action. I have already signed up, but in this particular table, if I show you table editor, and if I go to the user underscore profile, there is no entry, but I'm already having the sign up user over here. So you know that I have added this kind of feature in the sign in function. So now I'm going to sign in again so that this gets triggered, and I would see if this user gets added in this table or not. This one, user's profile. Currently there is no table. So let's do that. Let's click on login. And I should be able to navigate to the home route. Yes, I'm able to navigate to that email. And now let's do that. Are there any errors? There was no error. Okay, so let's come over here. Let's refresh this page and see if user gets added over here or not. All right, so user is added with the username and the email. And also this A45D is matching with this authentication. Let's see. A45D, yes, it is matching. So we are successfully adding that. Let me sign out and let me log in again so that it should not be added again and again, because this is why we added this condition existing user. Okay, now let's log in again. and we should be navigate to that, and let's refresh. Let's navigate to the table editor. Let's user profile. Let's refresh, and it should remain only one row. All right, so it is remained one row and we are successfully adding it inside the user's profile table. And the reason again I'm creating this user's profile, because in big application you will have more models like blogs, invoices, and all these different models, and you want to have a relationship between the user table and the model tables and the blogs tables, all the nodes tables. So you want to have the full-fledged SQL database schema with having relationship with this logged in user. So this is the reason we are adding the user over here, so that you can link it with other tables of your database schema. So let's go back, and here there are a few things I need to do. First of all, on the home route, I need to show the email ID. This is going to be a client component. So I need to show you how to fetch the users, logged in users data on the client component. So you know that in the home page, I'm loading the client component. So this is the client component. Currently, this is what it contains. So what I need to do is, first of all, let's remove it, and I need to change its type to the user coming in from the Supabase. Okay, and now the null. Okay, and after that I need to actually inside the use effect, since this is a client component, so I need to use use effect, and rather than setting the set user to null, I need to actually write Supabase equals to create client without a wait. So this create client is going to be from /supabase/client, not the server. Okay, so once this Supabase instance is going to be created, I'm going to use it to fetch the data. Okay, so Supabase get user, and we are using a wait here, that is fine, and then we can have the error. Okay, so right now what we can do here is if error or data user does not exist, so I'm going to remove this null. So if there is an error or data does not exist, then I can simply log this out. So user does not exist, or we can show the toasts as well, or we can just maybe trigger the sign out function, whatever we want. So else, then we are going to set the user. Okay, all right, so now on the home route we should actually see the email ID, because this is what we are showing over here, client component. So let's refresh. All right, now you can see that it's showing the logged in user email ID on the client side. Okay, now if I click on the private, you can see that hello. So let's close that. Let's close that. And there is a private. So this is a server side component. We can use the same technique as we are just showing on the navbar to show the user's data, which is pretty simple. Okay, so let me add that quickly. So in here, we can just create a client from the server file. Okay, and then this is the data, and this data is going to be hello data.user.email. All right, so now you can see that hello email, and there can be a lot of other details as well. So if we want to show user/user metadata username, then we will see the username. Okay, so it means that username was successfully stored in our authentication. All right, so we can close that. And another thing I want to show you, we are already logged in now. If I try to navigate to the login route, you can see that still I'm able to navigate to that login route. This is not what I want. Okay, I want to protect these routes as well. So this is the reason I actually put all the authenticated routes. We can protect these routes separately as well by going inside it, but I want to protect all these routes at once using this layout.tsx file. Okay, but before that, I'm not going to create an instance of this the user like I have created here. the create client instance and the get user inside this layout. The reason is that on one page there should not be two places or more than one places where we are just creating this instance again and again. Okay, here we can do that because when we navigate from one route to another route changes and the previous route gets unmounted. Okay, previous component gets unmounted, but navbar is the one where we are just using this thing, getting user and creating client, and also when we will be navigating to the login sign up, we are going to load the layout file again. So two places. So to do that, to avoid such kind of issues, what I can do is, let me close this. I can create a get session function inside it. So there is another way that we can use a cache function provided by React, and we can wrap over this server TS file, wrap everything within the cache so that we can avoid some redundancy issues. But I'm going to add one get user session over here. This is something which we can use. So async function get user session and this, and now I'm going to create a new client, and then I can again check if user session exists or not. Okay, we can use the get user as well, but let's try get session if it works or not. So I'm simply returning the null. Otherwise I can actually return the status success users data. Okay, so let's use that get user session inside the layout. Let me close it. Inside this, so over here I'm going to I'm going to use that session. So I'm going to write response equals to await get user session. Okay, and now if I can check if this thing exists, so it means that if user exists, response dot user. If it does not exist, then we are simply going to navigate it to redirect it to the home route, not login. Okay, so let's bring the redirect from next/navigation. All right, now let's refresh. Let's see if it works. Okay, so we are able to navigate to that. So what I wanted to do actually, rather than get session, I could use get user. Okay, so inside the get user, I can actually return the data dot user only. All right, and let's go. Let's refresh. Let's hard refresh. Let's navigate to the home. And now let's manually try to navigate to the login page. Still we are able to navigate to that. Let's see, we are actually fetching it from server, Supabase get user, and then if there is any error, then we are simply returning this. And inside the layout, we are having this redirect and this auth get user session, and here we are checking, oh, we added not here. So if user exists, then we are not letting the children to be loaded. All right, now let's try to go login. Now we are not able to navigate to that. You can see I'm trying to navigate to the register, and it should not take me to that. All right, so this layout, this children is bringing in all these 4 routes data: login, register, reset password, forget password. And if user exists means we are logged in. We are not letting these forms to be loaded, all these different forget password, login, register, reset. Instead, if user exists, we are taking it to the this redirect. But let's see if session was actually working or not. So data, let me try that out. All right, so let's see. Login. No, oh, it actually worked. The session is also working, means that it is checking that user is logged in. Okay, so we can keep it like it. All right, so now we are done with that. What are the next things we want to implement? We want to implement forget reset password and also login with GitHub. So let's implement login with GitHub first of all. But before that, let me show you the docs for this page, setting up server-side auth for Next.js. This is what I have seen. So be careful when protecting the pages. Always use supabase.auth.getUser to protect pages and user data. Never trust Supabase auth.get session inside the server component. It is not guaranteed to revalidate auth token. So it is recommending us to use the get user rather than the get session. So I'm just going to bringing it back to the get user part. Okay, so let's leave it like a get user. Okay, now it should work. Same login. Let's click on login. So I'm logged in. Now let's try to navigate to the login route. And yes, it's still working. Okay. So now let's implement the login with GitHub. We already have this button, login with GitHub. So let's close these and let's open up the component which is called login GitHub. Okay, so now you can see that when we click on it, this is something which we need to create, sign in with GitHub. So let's open up this docs. We can go to, from left side you can go to the social login auth and go to the GitHub, and these are the things which we need to follow. Okay, so let's create the function first of all. So let's close it, and below this sign out, I'm going to create a new function. So let's name it export async function sign in with GitHub. So this is something which I have created. Let's go over here, let's uncomment this, and let's bring that in. And yes, we don't need to check that. So I'm using the use transition hook. This is going to be a client component because without client component, we cannot use hooks. And I'm using use transition, and this is how I'm actually able to wrap it for the asynchronous function, and is pending can be used for showing redirecting or login with GitHub. Okay. Redirecting mean first of all, when we are first time initializing or logging in, it will show us to authorized your GitHub account to log in on this website. Okay, next time it will not ask that. So this is, you can change these texts as you want. Okay, so now we can actually implement that. So let's go to the docs. First of all, what we need to do is uh, so let's copy that first of all. I wanted to show you something. So Supabase auth. So first of all, let's create a client again, just like we have been doing. And also after logging in with the GitHub, we want it to redirect it to one of this route which we have created, auth, and this is the callback. Okay, so this is the thing which we want to trigger. So below that you can see that it is showing this thing. Okay, so I can write the options. Let's go over here, and below the provider. So generally we can use the same function for authenticating with multiple auth providers by passing the provider string over here rather than directly passing GitHub, which you can do that and change the name, sign in with OAuth. Okay, but I have directly added it because this is the only option I'm using in this particular application. Now, rather than using this example, we are using localhost, and to make it dynamic, we can get it from the headers. So const origin equals to await headers, and then after that we can get origin. All right, and for this redirect we can actually use origin auth callback. Okay, so this is what it was suggesting, and after that we can actually check if there is an error, then we can navigate it to the error page. Otherwise, if the URL exists, which is coming in from the data, then we are navigating it to the URL of that, and that URL is going to be added. That is going to be a callback, which we can just set. Okay, so let's close it. This is pretty much it, and we have added that. It will not work right now because we need to add this callback over here. Okay, so inside this callback, I'm going to copy it from here. Let's copy that. All right, so it is added. We don't need to modify that. But one thing, if user don't sign up manually from here, clicking on sign up, and it is going to be added in the authentication module, and then after user login, and it gets added in this user's profile table. Okay, so this logic of adding an instance of this user table is added in this particular login server action sign in. Okay, but not in this sign in GitHub. So what I want is, if user wants to sign up and log in directly with the GitHub but not manually signing up, still we want to add an instance of that user in this particular table, users profile. This is something which we cannot do over here, but we can do it in this login, this route.ts file. Okay, so below this, if there is no error, this is where we can actually add all these things. I've already shown you how we can add that in this login route. Okay, sign in route, but I'm just going to add few code snippet which you can pause the video and paste it. So this is Supabase Auth get user. I'm checking it with the data. If error exists, then I'm just showing printing the error, and then I'm just returning it to the error page. Pretty simple, no? All right, after that, if no error, what I can do, I can do the same things which I've done in this login route. So I'm just going to add the whole bunch of code which I have created in this auth login server action. So here I'm checking if the user profile already exists. If it does not exist, then I'm just inserting the email and the username. Otherwise, if there is an error, I'm just redirecting it to the error page. Pretty simple. Same things which I have done over here. All right. Now what I can do is, it will not work. One last thing which we need to do is to create enable these providers. So let's go to the authentication providers, and there is a GitHub. Let's click on that, enable it. We need to add this client ID. Okay, and this is something which is already added, auth v1 callback, and I will be copying it. Let's copy that. Let's go to the GitHub. You need to have your GitHub account. Let's go to the settings, and let's go to the developer settings, OAuth apps, and this is where you need to create your new OAuth app. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I've already let me see, auth v5 next app, right? So let me show you by creating a new one. So application name, this is going to be Supabase Next 14 auth, and what should be the URL? Let's add that. No need to add the description. This is where I need to add that callback URL. So let's copy that, and let's add that callback URL. Okay, we don't need to enable the device flow. Okay, and let's click on register application. This is the client ID which we need to copy from here. Let's go over here, client ID, and we need to enable generate the client secret. So I need to authenticate it with my authenticator. So let's do that. So let me write 454 906. Okay, now you can see that I'm able to copy that. Make sure you create your own client ID and secret, because I will be deleting all these things after this tutorial. Okay, so let's go over here, let's paste it right there. All right, now let's save it. Okay, so it's currently saving with all these details. What I want to do is, first of all, since I'm using the same email ID for the GitHub and the Gmail, it will not be creating another instance in my authentication module. So I'm going to delete all these things which I've already added. Okay, so delete row. And after that, I'm going to delete that user instance from the authentication module. Okay, so now let's do that. And now let's refresh. Let me verify the validations as well. So if I click on login, invalid login credentials because user does not exist in the DB. Let's click on the login with GitHub. Let's click on that, redirecting, yes. Now we need to authorize that. Click on authorize. It is redirecting to a particular page. Yes, we are navigated to the home route, private route, and we are logged in. That's awesome. Now let's refresh it, the users module. And now it is added, and you can see that the providers is GitHub, and last sign in is showing time. When we are using the OAuth, we don't need to verify our email ID, because it automatically checks that if we have authenticated it with GitHub account, that means that that email ID is real, because a real email ID was used to create the GitHub account. Okay, so yeah, and now let's go to the database. Let's click on tables. Now let's go to table editor, users profile. Let's refresh it. And there should be yes, so there is an instance of it while using the GitHub. All right, this is because we added this part over here. All right, so we are done with the login with GitHub. Our authentication is working and we are able to sign out as well. All right, next thing, we need to implement the reset password. So the form is already there. When I'm going to be writing an email ID, click on the forgot password. I will get an email ID in my email. And when I will click on that link, it will take me to another route, which is going to be the reset password, where I need to enter my new password. Okay, so inside this auth.ts, we need to write few functions. So let's write export async function forgot password, and then the form data. And let's select what Supermaven is suggesting. Okay, create client, which is good. We need to write supabase.auth.reset password for email. This is what we want. It is taking the email from the form data, which is fine. But after that, I want it to redirect it to. So redirect to, this is going to be from that origin, which I have already created above during sign in with GitHub. So let's copy that and let's create an instance of it, and redirect to is going to take us. So after this means that after we click on the link on the email where it should redirect, we have already added this reset password route in over here. Okay, reset password. So once that is done, next it is doing, if there is an error, we are simply returning the error message. Otherwise we can actually simply return this. Okay, we don't need the data in this case. Okay, forget password is added. Now let's open up the forget password, and let's see. So we didn't need to navigate to that forget password, and here you can see that I've not added anything. So now I can actually add const form data equals to new form data current target, and then the results form data forgot password. So let's bring that in from auth. Form data is passed, and here if the status is successful, we can show the toast, but I'm not going to spend time on configuring the toast. Let's show alert actually password resend link sent to your email. Okay, otherwise set error. Okay, result dot status, which is fine. All right, now let's close that. Before actually testing that out, let me create all these functions all together. So async function reset password with the form data, uh, and we will be needing code as well. Okay, so code will be appended in the URL when we are clicking on the reset password link, which we receive it in the email. Okay, uh, reset password. Okay, so now let's create Supabase equals to create, and we actually need to write error code error, and let's write await Supabase dot auth, not verify OTP but exchange code for session, and this is going to be the code. Okay, and then I'm going to check if code error, then I'm simply returning the status. And now if we are successfully exchanging the code for the session, because we don't want so what it means that when the reset password is successfully done, we if the session exists, then it will automatically logged in user. So login will automatically happen with the new password which is changed. Okay, so now after that, if error, then I'm going to update the user with the password which I'm receiving from that. If there is error, then I'm simply returning, and this is the success. Super is awesome. It is suggesting me many things, but you need to validate things after it suggests. Okay, so reset password is here, and I think we are good to go from here. Okay, form data and then the code. All right, so let's go to the reset password, and let's uncomment all these things which I previously commented out when I gave you this template. Okay, so here we can actually, first of all, we need to get the code from the URL. Okay, so inside this error, I'm going to write const form data. All right, Supermaven is suggesting, so reset password. Let's bring that in. Form data is being passed, and then search param dot get code, and I need to convert it into the string. Okay, so this has been converted. This is the result. So in the result, we are checking the status success, and then router dot push. We can check it to the login, but let's navigate it to the home route. Okay, if reset password is successfully done. If user is not logged in, then automatically it will be navigated to the login page. And we can add any toast or alert inside it. It's up to us. But let's show the error as well, since we are returning it from that action. Okay. To test this out, we need to sign up with our email ID, not with the OAuth GitHub. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's delete these rows. Okay, because I'm using same email ID, that's why I have to delete these. Otherwise, I don't need to delete that if I'm trying to log in with other email IDs. Okay, so let's do that. Let's delete it, and let's sign up first of all. Okay, uh, so let's go to the sign up, and let's write over here, and let's select an email ID. Let's write abcd@1234. Let's click on sign up. So it should be sign up. Let me show you the password. So it is capital ABCD@1234. So this is the password. When I'll be updating the password, I will write something else over here. All right. So now I can actually log in. No, email not confirmed. This is the error being returned from. So I need to confirm my email ID. So let me do that just quickly. Okay. So let's do, where is that? Yeah, I got that. So confirm your email. All right, so I've confirmed that. Let me click on login. All right, so I'm not logged in, and these things should be added over here. All right, so it's currently refreshing. We are added over here. All right, so let's log out. And now let's click on the reset password. Okay, so let me add my email ID, forget password. All right, password reset link sent to your email. Let's wait for it and let's see if I get, yes, I have got an email quickly. It was quick. Okay, and its template is same, that follow this link to reset your password and reset password. Now after I click on that link, this is what I have got. Let me show you. Okay, reset password, new password, and you can see that the code is appended in the URL, and I'm passing this code to that. Okay, so now let's add a new password. Okay, so let's do that. At a b c d at 1 2 3 4. Okay, I have changed my password. Now let's click on the reset password. Okay, so now you can see that I added a different password, and the reason I added this thing because after resetting the password, I wanted to use the same session, and it's going to change the session with the code over here. Okay, this is what even you can opt for different techniques, but the Supabase documentation actually show this way of doing it. Okay, now I'm logged in with a different password. All right, and what was the password actually? uh, Let me see. All right, so let's copy this one so that I don't forget it. All right, so I'm logged in. I can navigate to the private and let's sign out. Now let's try to log in with the new password. First of all, this is the old password which is saved already. Let's click on login, and now you can see that invalid password credentials because this password is old. I have already reset the password. Now let's add a new password over here and let's click on the login. And now you can see that I am logged in and it is working perfectly fine. And let me know in the comment below if you have learned something new. And I would recommend you guys to do all these things by yourself while I'm doing it by following my videos. In that way, you will be able to understand it in a best way possible. Okay. So again, I just want to let you guys know that if you want any kind of development services from me, contact me on LinkedIn. I've given the link of my LinkedIn profile in the description of this video, also on my channel, and do subscribe my channel and like this video. It really encouraged me to make more videos for you guys. And till then, I'm gonna making more videos in Next.js, React, and some latest technologies. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next video.